Okay, we are ready to go. We're back with this kit right here. You can't see them. Let me move this one back. You can't have that, dude. And we are doing this guy right here. You see him right here? And that's probably a good angle. You don't need to look at me. So I'll tell you what I have out so that you know. Kind of move everything out of the way here. Okay. We got my notebook that tells me which one which tutorial we're following, because I went and found, I did 2 years of research on YouTube and found a couple of people that do tutorials, and I just rewatched and wrote down what they did. Mostly heat set. I don't use heat set paints, but the colors are going to be very, very similar. They're not going to be called the same thing, but the shade of it is going to be similar. So you just have to know your shades of color, what it's going to look like, you know, what the colors look like and all of that. So anyway, I have several. I have one for preemie. Actually, I have 2 for preemie, 1 for newborn, and I think 2 for 0 to 3 months. There's different kits, different tutorials that are free. They have not charged for the tutorial, although they do charge for their little booklet that they have. So it took me weeks, months to get it right. So I use REBORN FX for a couple of my things because Folk Art has decided not to use glass and tile medium anymore. So I had to find equivalents, which took me a hot minute to figure out. So I use, because we're using water-based paint, air dry paints, you have to put something inside the paint to stick to the vinyl. So you have to have another medium to put in with the paint so it'll stick to the vinyl. Hence, you need to prime it first. So it makes it a sticky, for the paint, it's going to make it like a sticky, it'll hook to it. Like when you do your nails, you have to file your nails first before you put glue on, or the nail tip won't adhere. It will, but it won't stay. Same kind of idea. It has to be that. So I use REBORN FX from McPherson's. They're based out of Canada. I have a 1 ounce bottle. This is a 1 ounce bottle. It's not very big. You can get them in different ounces, but I prefer the 1 ounce because of the shipping. It's expensive. This little bottle, I just had to order me a new one because I don't have very much left in this, and this bottle will probably do this kit, but it won't do my other one. So I had to get another bottle of it. And so it was $20 and something cents for this. The next size up, I think it's like 5 ounces. Is it 5 ounces or 3 ounces? It was going to be like $40. I'm like, nah, I'll just get the 1 ounce because I'm not painting all the time now. If I was, and this was like a full-time thing, I would buy the big one. But hence, I haven't painted since August. So yeah, no, I'm still waiting for my varnish to come in. I'm not in a hurry for it because we're not even close to being at that part of things. Excuse me. So, okay, I shook this up real good. I got my 2 bowls. One's for paint. One is for rinsing your brushes. I forgot my brushes upstairs, but those aren't the ones I need. You need like a bottle of water or tap water or whatever. Leave it down where you're painting or whatever. That's going to be water to clean your brushes off with. We are not going to need these little brushes, I don't think. We'll leave them here just in case. We are going to need my favorite ones. Well, we'll use these ones a little bit bigger. This size. I don't know what size this is. It's been rubbed off now. I got these at Walmart. And I went there to look for another set. I wanted this set, and my Walmart doesn't carry them anymore. So this will give you an idea of the size. Is this one rubbed off too? Yes. Okay, let's look at this one. Oh, they're all rubbed off. Number 10. It's a 10. Yeah. And I'll use this size for a lot. So I have, and you want to get brushes that are for all mediums or acrylic paint, because the bristles are different. So you want to make sure that you get those kind of bristles. So we are going to use these. Well, we'll probably use this one. Doesn't matter. I got both of them here, but this one is a little bit bigger. I don't think this one is a 10. Yeah, this one's 10. What's this one? I don't know what this one is. Maybe a 9. It's a little bit smaller. So we'll put that one back. And I group my brushes to sizes like this. It's easier to find. Okay, so now to mix the paint, I'm doing a flesh layer right now. I want to do a flesh layer on this one because he is really light complected. And so I want it to be able to bring up the skin tone. You know, he's not going to be a dark baby, but I want him a little darker than he is. And I'm sure his mom does too. So just shake up your paints. I have a whole bunch of paints. And I think in my Paint With Me, well, this is what you need for reborn painting or whatever. It's in a playlist. I think I put my paints out are the ones that I use, and you can look at that and try to find them. Now, it doesn't have to be this brand. If you got Apple Barrel, use the Apple Barrel one. If you have Full Cart, use the Full Cart ones. Full Cart's going to be more expensive. And I know at Walmart, Full Cart has 2 different packs you can get. So it has a lot of them in it. Look at the packaging and see if it has most of the colors that you need, so you don't have to buy individual ones. I had a hard time finding stuff. So I have Apple Barrel, I have Delta, I have Full Cart. And I think those are the ones that I have. So this is a Delta, and it's Ceramcoat AC Flesh. So I'll show it to you. That's what it is. There's the number. It's 02085. And you could probably find it online, you know. But this is the one I even wrote on here when I found a match for the heat set paints, the color, I wrote on here, it is Flesh 08. It's equivalent to the Flesh 08 color. So we have that. So I'm going to take the cap off. I very rarely open it up and drip because I use my paintbrush. So I'm going to get my paintbrush wet, just so that it's wet, and just get it dry. Now the emulsion, you are only going to put a drop. You do not need a lot of this. I want to get I should have a little thing down here. It took me a while to get all my reborning items. Tweezers, funnels, nail clippers. I've got toenail clippers because they work better than those little ones. Toenail clippers, different funnels for different size openings for the limbs. I have These bowls, I get these bowls at Dollar Tree. They're 4 for $1.25, and I've got a collection of them. Paintbrushes, of course. You're going to need glue for setting the eyes in. You're going to need felt. You're going to need magnets. It's all in that video down there. And if I can remember, I will try to link the playlist for you. So it just has a little hole like that. And you are going to use, or you're going to need a half tablespoon little measurer. I have the whole kit. You can get them at $1.25 over at Dollar Tree. Okay, I have the whole set here, but from every tutorial that I've watched, they all used half tablespoon of water. So that's what I use. If you need to double it, you can double it. Just make sure there's nothing inside here. Now, to mix your paints, you need the distilled water. This is at Dollar Tree too. It's like a mustard ketchup bottle. And I just dump some in from my gallon. And you just want to make sure the top's on so it doesn't evaporate. And you're going to put half a tablespoon of water in here. It's not very much. It is not very much. So now you're going to take your emulsion and you're just going to put a drop of this. And I don't even really push the thing. I just dump it in. And if you saw that, it turned milky. It's like a milky color. See, it's not real clear. So got a white tint to it. And then I take my brush, depending on, I usually get a whole brush. So a whole brush is both sides of it. Okay. Get the whole thing in there and just mix it around. You will get to know how you want to mix your stuff. Some people start out really, really, really watery. And I didn't have the patience anymore to do that, because you're going to put on layers and layers until you get it to where you want it to look like. And when you're first starting, I totally recommend that. But I've been doing this for a little bit now. And I'm mixing this, and it's kind of thick. See, it's thick. It goes up on there. It's not really see-through. See, it's not really see-through. It's kind of thick, and it's thick. See, like that? It's thick. You can add more water to it. I am not going to add more water to it because he is light complected. If I was just starting out, I would have probably just done a half a brush and put it in that water and see how it comes out. And if it was real watery, you wouldn't be able to see the color like that. You can barely see through that. It's really, it's thick. It's thicker. So what we're going to do now is we are going to get a sponge. And I would say for each color, for each, what I've done by just starting out, so you're not going to ruin your sponges, ruin the sponge and get it all. It gets wet and it tends to fall apart after it's wet. You got 4 limbs and a head. So you can use 2 sponges. That's 4 pieces, 1 for each limb, right? And you need the head. So you can either use one of these, or you can just use 3 sponges for your flesh layer and have 5 pieces. And you got an extra piece if you need it. I keep these until they are no good. I probably have some inside my bucket here. I'm pretty sure that I do. But for this one, I'm going to start fresh and just do it normal. Okay, we don't need these right now. So this is what we're using right now. And here's your water we're just going to set that aside so we can clean the brush off if we need to. So the same, you're going to apply this the same way we did the primer. You're going to start with the head, start in the back, come up to the middle of the head and pounce it off. And then you're going to go from the ears to the forehead, pounce it off, and then you're going to do the front piece. Don't forget the neck area. And then you're going to do the feet and so forth. So we're going to put our gloves on. Now these ones I got, they're pretty good. I will reuse my gloves throughout this doll, and if I get paint on it and if I can't wash it off, then I use new gloves, because you don't want it to get on the kit. You can, if you want to, you're going to go through a ton of them if you do it this way, but after each layer of like this is the flesh layer, you can save these gloves for just that layer. You know, it's kind of hard because I got this on, but if I take it off, it's going to kill my wrists. All right, so we're not going to need these ones right now. We're going to set those aside, and we're going to pick up the head, and we are going to, and if your fingers get sore, you can get, like I have some big paint brushes right here, big long ones, and you can put it on if you want. I'm going to use my hands as long as I can. So I'm going to start out by doing the back. And this is really, really watery. And I'm going to tell you, remember I said if it's watery, you have to make sure that you are pouncing it really good, because you do not want pools of water. Okay, so I'll show you this. See, it's all wet, and it's going to be runny because it's water-based. And then you are just going to pounce. Now, I will get to a point here where I'll show you. No, you are not taking the paint off. Yes, it's going to come on here, but because we prime the kit, the color is going to stay on the kit. It's going to add a color, and I'm going to show you here in a minute. That's why you have, and I've seen this with some other artists too, they will mark the the rings down here with a color that they're using so they can color match if they ever have to redo it or what have you. So here's this. See if I can go up here. See, and you just pounce it. See how it's disappearing? It's not disappearing. When it's in your face right here, you can see where you've left off and where you need to put more paint. And I'm going to show you in just a second. Just want to make sure that I get the majority of this, because I do want to show you something with the ears, because I don't think I'm going to be able to. You're going to need another brush, because you are not going to be able to get into the ears real well and behind the ears real well. So you need to get the pooling of the paint out. Okay, so now, I don't know how well it's going to show. Yeah, it does. See this color? See this color? See this color? See the difference? Okay, and then the front, we haven't done anything. It's the same. As we go around to the back, you can see a difference. See the difference? So you can see, even though up close here, I can see that there's a shade color difference. This is really light, and this is a little darker. Not much darker, but it is a little darker. So now, this is what I was talking about, where you're going to need to, let's see if I can show you. Okay, See that? See that paint right there underneath the ear? You don't want that, okay? Anywhere. That's called pooling. You want that gone, because that will make a nightmare waiting for happen. See, it's all gone now. That will be a nightmare waiting to happen. Okay, so we've done that part. Okay, so now we're at the top of the head, and I don't know. I want you to get a good look. See, you can kind of see it. Okay, so now make sure you mix your paint as you go. And we are going to do the top of the ears, and this is going to run, and it's okay to run because we're going to do the whole kit anyway, but you really don't want it to dry, and it's not going to dry real fast. But since I'm doing ear to ear, I'm going to do ears, the neck, I'm going to do the top of the head, and I go back a little bit because I want it to blend in. And you just take some of this paint, go behind the ears again if you're not comfortable, you know, and we are going to just coat it. Just coat it. Just coat it. And this one has an open mouth, so you want to get inside the mouth. That's going to be important. Okay, now we've covered the whole kit. We've covered all of it. Okay, and because this is water-based, these sponges are going to absorb paint. They're going to get bigger, and that's when you're going to tap it out onto your napkin or whatever you're using. I use doggy pads. I get them at Dollar Tree. They're $1.25. You get like 8 or so in a package. So each time I go, I pick up another package, and I've got enough. I fold it in half, so one half will be $1. So one big doggy pad will do $2. It will do $2, and this is going to run around because it is water-based, so you just want to do the best you can to get it. And as you go, you will pick up where it's running, and I will show you around the nose, in the neckline, in these creases here. You'll end up using another brush to tap it out. Okay, and I will show you the difference here since I finished pouncing. And you just get inside these ears the best you can. And I'm going to sponge that out. It also tells you the color. You know, you can see your color. And he is starting to come alive. He'll look even more so after we get the washes on. Okay, so I've sponged in pretty good. Now we're going to go back with this brush, go inside the ears, and just outside the ears. And this does take a hot minute to do. Each layer could take you anywhere from an hour. And I'm talking too as I'm doing this, so it's going to take longer. But typically this would take me maybe a half hour, depending on how many creases he's got and all of that, and how particular I want to be, which I do with this because I didn't buy this kit. This is somebody else's kit. So I want to make sure that I am taking my time and doing it correctly. We don't want any problems. And I think that she's going to be really happy with him. Get inside, because he's got open eyes. So in these crevices right here on the corners, paint sticks in there, and you want to get it out. And you want to get it out of his nose. Go in his nose. And he has an open mouth, so you're going to take this brush and I know you can't see me, but just get in there and really shove it around so it gets covered. Okay. All right. So I think we did good with this face. Okay. There's his face. There's his face. And we are going to show you a limb because this is all white. Up close, you're going to see, hopefully you'll see a little bit of a color difference. Let me see. I can do it this way. Back of the head. Let's try to get in the out of that bright light. So hopefully you can see a difference. See a difference? And you can see it down here on the rim. This is darker than this. You can tell he's got his flesh layer on. So you can tell. It's just not much. There's not much of a color difference. Just a next tone, you know. So we'll put him back there. And now we'll do the same thing for the foot, which I'm going to use a stick for because it's easier to hold. And we're going to mix the paint. I start with the bottom of the foot. And it's going to drip down, so just hold it over your mat. And go up the leg, wherever it's watering down. Get inside the limb, the creases. Right here. Perfect. See, we left off at the knee, and then after we pounce all of this, we will come up to the knee and do the rest of the leg. So this one I did with the head. You can still use it. I think I'm going to still use it because it's still fine. And you just, squish the paint out as you go because it's water. You're actually picking up all the water that you're putting on. And the paint color is it's staying on there. You're kind of picking up all the extra water is what you're doing. So when you do this, when it's not that thick color, it's not going to look like you've done too much. You'll have to do, like if it's watered down, like I said, you'll probably end up doing maybe 2 to 3 flush layers at a time if you're doing it that watery, because that's what it's going to be. That's how it's going to work. Okay, so we're going to do this side. I'm going to turn this. Oh, come on. Bring this around. Okay. So I can see what I'm doing here. Do his feet. I usually do the feet first, then the upper legs. But it really doesn't matter. Okay, stay on there. You keep shifting on me. Okay, so now I'm going to take the little brush, the little one that we have, and get in between these toes. Make sure that it's not in there, just like we did with the primer. You want to make sure that there's nothing between the toes, and you're here with the creases. Make sure you get the creases. There we go. And now you're going to do the rest of the leg. There. Very good. Now you don't have to add the flesh layer if you do not want to. You can just go right ahead and start doing the washes. Even if you don't want the washes, you can go right straight to mottling if you want. The only reason you do a flesh layer and the washes is to make it more realism, the skin tone that you're trying to achieve, you know, the undertone, you know. So you don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you just want to do your first kit and all you want is a little bit of mottling, do some mottling. You like the color of the kit. Like this one I'm doing here with this one, he's dark. So really all I need to do with that one is do the mottling on him and then a little bit of blushing and he's done. But I'm going to do the whole bit like I am here because I want the realism of the flesh look. Okay, so there's that leg. Make sure that nothing is touching it when you put it down. Make sure that there's nothing in the way of it. I use an old baby bottle rinser. You know, after you wash your baby bottles, you put it so it dries. That's what I'm using. But I also had my husband make me a wood one because sometimes, like this time, I have 2 kits that I'm doing. And so I want to have enough room to do it. So I don't get nervous about painting like this part because this is really nothing, you know. And if you were doing an AA baby, you would be doing this flesh layer. You would probably be doing like a dark brown. There's no way I'm doing that. I am not comfortable at all. I would have to buy a really cheapy, I would have to get test limbs. And you can buy those through Dolls by Sandy. Most of the doll places have them, test limbs. And you can get a test limb and just mark down what you're doing as you do it, you know. And if you like it and how it comes out, then you could do a whole kit. But I'm not doing that. There's no way I'm doing that. He, by the time I'm done, might look like an AA baby, but he's not going to be. He's just going to be preemie and he's going to be dark complected because he's a preemie. Because that's what he is. So you just do this on all the limbs. And I kind of, once I do a little bit, I will pounce it out, see what I'm doing and pouncing it out. Just so that the sponge isn't waterlogged. You don't want it waterlogged. Try to get in between these little toes the best you can with the sponge. We're going to go back, get into these creases, but we're going to go back in there with the little brush, and brush this out. And get it the best you can because you don't want it pooling in there. And by pooling, I mean it's going to, like, it's all going to well up in those little areas, and you don't want that at all. In any of the crevices, anything. You don't want that. Okay, we got a little bit in that crevice right there. Okay. Just a spot on his ankle. Okay. Then we're going to soak that up again and do the rest of the leg. There we go. And then we're going to do this. See, we're doing a newborn size. So that teaspoon, a half a teaspoon of water that I did and I mixed up is going to make it through this kit. Probably, and then some. I probably still have enough in here to do him. But I might water it down a little bit to do him because it doesn't need to be this watery because he's not that light. This one's light complected. And I'm trying to give him some color a little bit. Give him a little bit of color. He needs some color. So I'm going to take that off and use my fingers to hold this and get it. Okay. Let's get the brush. Get the inside the crease right here. Inside the crease. There's that one. Now you can see with this one too, you can see, even though the light's kind of crappy, you can see that there's a color difference. But it's not dark. You know what I'm saying? It's probably the next shade up. And his mama knows how light colored he was. So she's going to see, she'll in her head know, okay, he's darker. He's a little darker. He's getting a tan, a light tan color. And it's just like the next shade up. So I'm going to do this one. This is a half an hour already. So I'm going to stop right here and call it good for the flesh layer. I'm going to let this dry overnight. Normally I would just move on to the next layer, which is the washes, but I'm going to have that be a separate video. This is just the flesh color. So we did his feet, we did his hands. I'm going to, his feet and head. I'm going to do the hands now. It's going to be the same as those. Just make sure you get in the crevices. This is going to be a big one, you know, because it's going to pool up there. So, and then it's going to dry overnight. And then we will be back with the next video of start of the washes. And we will see you then.